welcome back to the Meeple Marathon. Today we are going to be doing a how to play video for Star Wars Imperial Assault. My brother and his wife actually received Star Wars Imperial Assault for Christmas and texted me today and said, do you have this game? And I said, well, actually, I do. I have a lot of that game. It's one of my favorites. And they said, hey, we're really struggling with how to play. We basically set it up and then couldn't make it through the rule book. And maybe you'll need to teach Matt how to play. And so I said, well, I think I can handle that. I can take care of that. And I realized I actually don't have a how to play video on the channel. I have covered the Red Jarek solo variant from BGG, and that's how you can run the full game. So the campaigns from the book, where you're having to run AI. Essentially, he created an automa for the Imperial players, and then you're running the Rebellion players. But my preferred way to play is through the Legends of the Alliance app, and I actually have this running just off screen here. We'll bring that up on screen here shortly. But first, I would just want to cover the basics of gameplay. So, what we're going to cover today is the basics of gameplay, what you need to do on your turn as a Rebellion player. I'm not going to worry about covering the Empire for right now, because in my opinion, if you are getting into the game, the best way to do it is to download the Legends of Alliance app. It's a free download. Go in it cooperatively, where both of you are learning how to play as the Rebellion players. Let the app make the decisions for the Empire players, and then go from there if you choose to split yourselves up. But so let's go ahead and get started. Now, this is a dungeon crawler, essentially, at the end of the day. I know that there are no dungeons in the game, and this is going to take place in space and all over these various planets, and it's Star Wars, but it's a dungeon crawler at its heart. What that means is you're going to be moving your player pieces around the map, spending move points, and then you're going to be attacking various enemy figures on the map. You're going to be interacting with certain things on the map, and basically you're going to be attempting to complete an objective. Usually that objective pushes a little narrative, whether it's in the book, campaign book, or in this case it's on the app. Eventually you have reached your final objective. You are either successful or not, and then usually it's part of a campaign where you then can either clean up or play the next mission. And this game, just like most other dungeon crawlers, is going to be using a whole handful of dice to determine your attack value, your defense value, your range, all sorts of stuff like that, skill tests. So when it is your turn as a hero figure, as a figure of the Rebellion, and one thing I will note, for those of you who are unaware, you cannot play as Luke Skywalker or Han Solo in this game. Yes, they are available playable characters, but they will only ever appear as allies. They may join you for a mission or two, but otherwise they are not playable characters. So these stories that they've created are all unique stories to the Star Wars universe, kind of taking you away from the traditional canon that most people know about. So I've always appreciated that part of the game. All right, so these are our three heroes here. These particular three heroes are actually from the Jabba's Realm expansion, but they're just who I chose to pull out of the box. So we've got Shyla Varad, Vinto Harida, and Onar Koma. Now you can see each one of them has a card here, which is going to give us various statistics that we're going to need to pay attention to. And then each one of them comes with a starting item card, which has their picture on the back. So in the resources that you get for the game, each character is going to have a small deck of mini cards like this. These are going to be their upgrade cards that you can spend XP on throughout the game, but the only ones you need at the start are the ones that are an item card. The other ones are going to be action cards. They're going to just have text on them. These are going to be the only ones that look like a weapon. Essentially, that's your starting weapon. All right, so we've gotten everything we need for our heroes. When it is your turn, you have two actions that you can take. And those two actions can be move, attack, interact, rest, or special. So let's go through all of those one by one, and then we'll get into kind of working our way through the tutorial of the app, which I think does a really good job of teaching you the game. So first, let's talk about move. When you are decide you need to move across the map, and you spend one of your actions, one of your 2 actions on move, you're going to look here and you're going to look at the speed value of your character. So you can see Shyla Varad here has a speed value of 5, whereas her other 2 compatriots only have a speed value of 4. So that means she can move 5 spaces from wherever she's starting. So that could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can move diagonally as well as orthogonally. You can also, if you choose to go 1, 2, stop your movement, spend your second action to do something like interact or attack. You can then finish your movement 3, 4, 5. You just have to remember how many you had left. But usually you can probably backtrack and figure out where you started. So you can interrupt your movement in order to take your second action and then continue your movement afterwards. That's different in various games. Imperial Assault does allow you to interrupt. So that's the movement action. You'll see various lines on a lot of the terrain which will affect your movement. Most of them just mean it's blocking your movement, it's blocking your line of sight. For example, these red lines here are the rocks. That's impassable terrain. You cannot see through the rocks, you cannot climb on the rocks, you cannot walk through the rocks. Pretty much the only colored border that you can pass through is blue. And that's usually around water or like a pile of rubble. And that just means it takes an extra movement point to move into the rubble or into the water. So if this was, say, a blue space right here above the terminal, you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to pass through, say, a puddle or a pile of rubble. All right. Next is let's skip attack, and we'll come back to attack because that's probably the most complicated action in the game. All right. So next up is interact. Interact is very simple. Anytime you are adjacent, and this, for example, is considered adjacent because you are orthogonally adjacent. But anytime you are adjacent to an object that's been placed on the map, you can interact with it. So that may be a terminal, that may be a crate, that may be a door. Essentially interacting with the door is going to open it up and reveal more of the map. What the app does, which is really nice, is gives you a little bit of flavor text about what you in fact are investigating, and then it gives you the choice. Do you want to spend your action to investigate this terminal, this crate, this door, or open this door? So it kind of confirms that you did in fact want to take that action. Maybe you want to change your mind, continue your movement, do something else. But that's basically the interact action. It's very straightforward. Next is the rest action. So throughout the game, you're going to be taking damage. You're also going to be spending, gaining fatigue to do special feats. When you rest, you get to recover your strain, and then so you're going to recover your blue tokens, and then anything beyond your endurance. So say your endurance is 4 and you recover 3, you get to recover a 4th token, then you can move to your health. So resting is a way to remove your fatigue from you, or I call it fatigue, they call it strain in the game. And also, once you have removed your strain or fatigue, you can start removing your damage. So if you rested twice in a turn, you could probably remove a decent amount of damage. But then again, when you're resting, you're not doing anything else. You're not attacking, you're not interacting. You're probably hiding behind a big rock and regaining your health. All right, a special action is one that you're going to find on either a player card or like a weapon card or an item card, or maybe once you've grown in experience points and gained some upgrade cards. For example, here, the Mandalorian Whip. Let's bring up Shiloh's card again nice and close here. You can see that there is this action symbol. That's a symbol for having to take an action to do this, and it's going to cost her 1 strain. So
she needs endurance. You know, she can't be above her endurance level here to do this. So she has to spend an action, take a strain, then she chooses a small figure hostile within 3 spaces in line of sight. She's going to push that figure up to 3 spaces to an adjacent space to you, then perform an attack with and that's symbol for melee weapon. Looks like a lightsaber, melee weapon targeting that figure. So essentially she's whipping out, sending her whatever retractable thing there, Boba Fett's thing, because she's a Mandalorian. Basically hog tying him, dragging him to her, and then she's gonna smack him with her blade. So that is a special action. You can also see that her duelist blade here has a special action on it. Replace 1 yellow die in your attack pool with 1 red die, then perform an attack with this weapon. So instead of spending an action to attack, she can do that attack action in particular. All right. Quick note about strain. I'm going to probably call it fatigue several times throughout the game here. Once you have acquired the number of strain on your player card equal to your endurance, you cannot take any more fatigue until you have rested and recovered some of that fatigue. So you cannot go beyond your endurance level. All of these guys have an endurance level of 4. All right. And one other thing, while we're getting back to movement, my apologies, I did not cover this before, is while you are moving, even though, say, for example, Vinto here has a movement of 4, he can go 1, 2, 3, 4. Say he really wants to make it to the door and open the door on his turn. You can spend up to 2 strain. You can take 2 strain. You can strain yourself twice to move an additional space. So he took 2 strain, he moved 2 additional spaces, now he is adjacent to the door, and he can spend his second action to open the door, instead of spending his second action to move just 2 spaces. So, alright, meant to cover that on movement, but I hadn't spoken about strain yet. Alright, so let's talk about attack. This is the last action that you can take. Now, attacking, obviously, you want to have a hostile figure. So let's get us a lowly stormtrooper out right now. And so, when you are attacking, first of all, you need to decide whether or not you need to be adjacent to the figure or whether you can attack from range. These 2 gentlemen here both have rifles. Pistols or rifles, and you can see that the symbol on their weapon card here looks like a pistol, looks like a gun, right? That is the ranged symbol. So both of these guys could attack from distance, whereas Shyla here has to be adjacent to her character because she's attacking with a sword. So if Shyla wanted to attack, she would need to be right here. All right, Vinto here, he's going to attack in a minute from we're just going to put them 1, 2, 3. Yeah, right there. That's a good spot. All right. So say both of these guys on their various turns are going to attack this lowly stormtrooper. When Shyla attacks, first thing you're going to need to do is have the stormtrooper's card handy. Really, these are the only sets of cards that you are going to need to start playing if you are using the app. You're going to need the activation cards for the Imperials, and then your starting cards for your players, and that's it. But what this card right here is telling us what the defense value is, or the defense die is for the Stormtrooper. He gets 1 black die as his defense. Shyla here is attacking with her duelist blade, and for right now we're not going to take that extra action. We're simply just going to do the yellow and the green. Alright, so this is what she's attacking with. This is what he's defending with. Let's go ahead and roll them up and take a look. Alright. So, if you are attacking with a melee weapon, the numbers on the dice you can completely ignore. The numbers are for range and tell you how far away how accurate your shot is, or from how far away your shot is going to be accurate. So for now, Shayla
does not care about the numbers. All she cares about is these 2 hit symbols and this 1 surge symbol. All right. So in this particular roll, the defender has rolled 2 blocks, which is going to negate Shayla's 2 hits. But she has a surge symbol here, which then she can take and look on her thing here, and she can spend her surge symbol however she wants. So she could say Pierce 1, which is going to make one of her attacks go through one of his defenses, or she can simply use it to add an additional attack to her roll, which she'll do. So essentially that's almost as if she rolled that now. She turns this miss, or the surge, into an attack, and she's hit the Stormtrooper once. Now that's a long ways away from, well, it's actually not that bad. He only has a health of 3, but he's not dead yet. Now, say, for example, he had rolled this. Let's go back here, and this is close enough to being her roll. Say this was his roll. This circle with the line through it, essentially, does not negate hits. It negates surges. So in his roll, he doesn't get to re-roll it. You roll in it for him. In this instance, he takes away your ability to spend a surge, but then you still get to hit him twice. So there we go. All right. Now, say you're unsuccessful and the Imperials are going to get a turn. Now it's Vinto's turn. All right. He's already in position, so he's just going to go ahead and attack. We look at his dice, and he's rolling a blue and a yellow, and the defender is still rolling a black. So let's see what he hits on. All right. Ooh, the defender rolled pretty good there, but Vinto's not doing too bad. So now that we are attacking from range, we do care about the numbers. So the number here is 4. Are we within 4 spaces of the Stormtrooper? 1, 2, 3. Yes, we are. So we're good. We hit him. If, however, this was our roll, we would have missed him. 1, 2, then our shot would have become inaccurate and would have gone off and missed him. So when you are shooting with a ranged weapon, that's when you care about the physical numbers, the actual numbers on the dice. Now, in this instance, Vinto has rolled 3 hits. The Stormtrooper is blocking 3 hits, but Vinto also has 2 surges that he's going to spend. So, unfortunately, though, they're not going to get him much. Now, you can see he can spend 1 surge on an additional hit. That's really all it would take to remove this guy from the map. He would get 3 hits against him. He has 3 health. That would have killed him. But let's just say Shayla only hit him once, and we're still trying to take him out. Now, his other surge could be spent on +2 accuracy. Well, that's not doing us any good. We actually got all our accuracy we needed from the beginning. But you can see there's a passive effect here at the bottom that says, while attacking with this weapon, you may re-roll all of your attack dice. So, do we want to re-roll any of our attack dice? Maybe we will. This is only 1 hit. It's 2 surges. Let's see if we can do a little better. All right. We actually did worse. So in this case, we would have had to do that before we spent the surges. In this case, we would have gotten a 3rd one, which would have just been a wash. So that's that. But that essentially is how you attack. The Imperial players, when they're told to attack, are going to do the same thing. You can see, for example, here, Vinto, let's say he's shooting back at Vinto. He's ignoring Shayla right in his face. Vinto's going to get a white die to roll, which is actually a little better. And the Stormtrooper's going to be attacking with a blue and a green. So if he attacks back, this is what our roll would look like. And this is actually a really good roll for the Stormtrooper. He's hit me for 6 accuracy, which is plenty. We're only 3 spaces away. He's hit me for 3 hits, and he'd get to spend a surge. But the white die has the big fancy X. It's only one side of the white die. If you roll the X, you completely evade the attack. You do like a fancy roll, dodge thing. You don't actually move your character. Don't move your person. But if you roll the X, that's actually a complete miss. It's interesting that the black die has more defense symbols on it, but does not have a complete miss.
evade token. Usually the white die is for people who are more shifty, able to completely jump out of the way, but generally if they're going to take a hit, it's going to hurt more. Whereas the black people usually have better armor, things like that. For example, if you're going up against Darth Vader here, he's going to be rolling against you this mess, which is a ton of hits, and his defense against you is 2 black dice. Hopefully you don't run into Darth Vader in the very first scenario. But that's essentially attacking. Again, you are looking at the weapon card for your heroes, picking out those colored dice, or in the instance of Imperials, you're looking at their Imperial deployment card, picking out those dice. You're going to roll them at the same time as the player's defense dice. One interesting thing to note here is Onar Koma has 20 health, which is almost double that of these two guys, but he does not roll any defense dice. He's a pure tank. He basically is like, go ahead and hit me, I'll just absorb it for a while, rest up when I need to, yada yada yada. So, all right, that is really everything you need to know to activate your heroes and what you need to do. Again, the app is going to give you objectives, or if you're playing through the campaign missions in the books, you have objectives. Usually if there's a door, you want to go open the door and find out what's on the other side. Usually if there's bad guys on the map, you want to take out the bad guys, you know, before you do anything else. So take out bad guys, check out things on the map, walk through doors. So let's now take a look at the app and how we get started on the app. Okay, so here we have the main screen. One thing that is nice is that if you click more here, you can click on the rules. It's going to take you to Fantasy Flight's webpage, and they actually have a unique set of rules that were created just for the Legends of the Alliance app, which cover activating the Imperials, but also it's trimmed down from even this. So this is the Learn to Play guide that you get in the physical box. But it's going to have all the instructions for what the Imperial player who's playing as the Imperial is going to do on their turns. When you're playing with the app, you don't need all that stuff. So if you click on the rules there and read through that on your iPad or whatever, I feel like it's better than reading through the Learn to Play guide. But in this instance, let's go ahead and we're going to do a new game. We're going to do a campaign, and we're going to select the Legends of Alliance tutorial app, because again, we are learning how to play here. So let's continue. Now, if this is your, all right. So if this is your first time playing, you're going to say, have you played any version of Star Wars Imperial Assault before? And you're going to say no. And you're going to say, how many people are playing this tutorial? You're going to say however many there are. Say there's 2. It's actually going to assign you characters for you. In this case, it's usually Jin, Odan, and Garkon, who are from the base box, considered to be the 2 easiest players to play with. Very straightforward. They work well together. You can see that my very first run through the tutorial mission used them as well. Then I came back and said, oh, I'm going to try it 3-handed here, and so I played with those 3 other characters. All right, but let's just completely start a new one here. I'm going to say yes in this instance, so I can choose the characters that I actually have out on the board. Continue. Let's call them the A team. All right. You can call them whatever you want. Doesn't really matter. You're the only one that's going to know. And let's continue. There's some nice little flavor text setting the scene for where you guys are. Basically, this is right after the celebration of Yavin 4. The Empire's found you, and they're trying to evacuate, and you're trying to hold everyone off. So let us begin. All right, some more flavor text here. Let's continue. This is telling you can always click on the message icon to review all of this text that we're breezing through now. All right, and it's telling me how to set up the map. Well, I've actually already kind of done this here. There's some extra stuff on the map here we don't need that I was using just for demonstration's sake. And let's put our door on the map there. All right, pull these guys off. Okay, so I have followed the instructions. I can see I can pinch, I can zoom in, I can move it around. Basically, I set up the map as I see, and then it's going to tell me place Onar right here. Place Shyla right here. And place Vento right here. Okay, so we're all right here in the middle. Round one. Okay, suddenly you catch a glimpse of movement out of the corner of your eye. A squadron of Imperial stormtroopers has ambushed you. Okay, so this is telling you to deploy 3 stormtroopers. In this instance, it is telling you exactly where to place those stormtroopers. And it also wants you to pick a color. So this is where the little stickers come in that I have somewhere of these colors. You can see these colors here. And those stickers are so you can keep track of if there's multiple deployments of stormtroopers. I, however, have painted up my figures, and I painted their bases specifically blue. You can see other ones are gray. So I'm going to select blue. This is the blue squadron of stormtroopers, and I'm going to put them out where the app is telling me to. Okay, so they're hiding behind the rocks. Okay. All right, so we can see here that it's telling us we can click on the stormtroopers at any point to get the information, but I also like always bringing out their card so I can see like what their attack and defense is going to be. Blast, how did we not detect them before now? No time to worry about that. You have to get ready for combat. The stormtroopers interrupt to activate. Okay. When a group activates, each figure takes its activation one at a time until all figures in the group have activated. So, what that's saying is that they have surprised you. They are interrupting whatever it is you were doing to activate. When a group of anything activates, all of that group is going to activate. So when it's the blue stormtroopers activating, all 3 of these blue stormtroopers, at least the ones that are still alive when they activate, are going to get a turn. So let's continue here. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. How do I make this go away? Okay. I'm going to explain all this to you here in a second. So, okay. Oh, they're really walking us through this. Okay. So, basically when that card pops up, it's giving you a set of instructions that you're going to read from top to bottom. And you're going to complete the first 2 actions that you can for the stormtrooper, skipping over any actions that don't make sense or they can't complete until you've completed 2 actions for them, or you get to the bottom of the list. In this instance, they're saying that the first action here is move 3 to attack the closest rebel, and they want us to activate this guy here. So that is one of the actions that it says to do for the stormtrooper. So move 3 indicates that he's going to spend 3 movement points. That's essentially him like having a speed of 3. When a figure moves to attack, it will spend its movement points to get as close as possible to its target before attacking. It'll take the shortest path. Okay, so it's telling us exactly. Normally, the game does not hold your hand this badly, but this is a tutorial, so it's telling us exactly how to move this stormtrooper. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. All right. So we've moved him. He's now there. All right, now we can see the card that came up earlier. So you can see that his 3 actions are move 3 to attack, move 2 to reposition 4, or move 6 to reposition 4. So essentially, if he could not attack, he was basically going to take eight movements worth of movement to try and get 4 spaces away from one of the rebels. That's if he's like being really far behind. We basically said, screw you, we're leaving, we're running through the door. All right. So now he has move 3 to attack. This is all one action. So now he is, it's basically telling us to roll the blue and the green dice, which we've already talked about. And it's against Onar Koma, who doesn't have a defense die. So Stormtrooper gets a free attack. All right. Boom, boom. Let's see what the app tells us to do. As with any ranged attack, check to see if the attack has sufficient accuracy to hit. It's not ranged. He's actually adjacent, which is interesting. Okay. For each surge the Stormtrooper rolled, consult the surge priority list. Okay. Has 2 or more uncancelled surges for attack. Will only use 1 because the Stormtrooper only has 1 surge ability. Okay. Alright, will you stop? Can you just let me have the screen, please? Okay. Alright, so it's jumping ahead here. So basically we are attacking. It is, it gets a automatic surge. It's going to use that for a +1. So essentially hit Onar for 3. 2 here, spends its third surge, or its only surge that it can spend for 1 additional hit. Onar takes 3 damage because he has no defense. Then his second action on his card was to move 3 to reposition 4, which means he would ideally like to be 4 spaces away from any one rebel. So if he goes here, 1, 2, he is still 1, 2 spaces away. But if he goes here, 1, 2, 3, oh, it's saying I can't get there. The highlighted spaces are all 3 spaces away from Onar Koma, which is the farthest the Stormtrooper can get from that hero. 1, 2. I say he can get further away, but we're just going to put him there. We're going to continue. Know that while these 2 spaces are 3 away from Onar Koma, they are only 2 spaces away from Shyla Barad. All right, so we didn't select those. We selected one of those up top. We moved him. Yep, that's where we moved him to. Okay, thank you very much, app. You see there is a lot of hand holding here at the beginning. Okay, so let's follow along here. He's going to move 3 to attack the closest rebel. It's going to tell us exactly where we want him to move. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3. All right, in this instance now he has a choice. There's more than 1 rebel equally close to the Stormtrooper. You need to decide which one gets attacked. Don't forget the Imperial rule, which is basically do what's best for the bad guys. Perform an attack against a hero, then select continue. So I can either, at this point, I can choose. His priority is the closest rebel. Both of them are close, and there is no other priority for him to select. Neither one is going to hurt me too badly either way, so let's go ahead and have him attack Vinto. Alright, so Vinto is canceling 1, he's blocking 1 and canceling 1 surge. So that's been canceled, and he's blocking 1 of those. His bonus, the Stormtrooper's bonus, is to gain +1 surge no matter what, so he actually is going to go ahead and get to spend that extra hit. So he's going to hit Vinto twice, because essentially this surge is canceled and 1 of those hits is canceled. 1's going through, there's that, and then you can see behind all this mess of the tutorial, his bonus is gain +1 lightning bolt. So every time he rolls, he gets a free surge. His priority is +2 accuracy. He doesn't need that because he's adjacent. Then he's going to spend his second one for +1 hit. Alright, then he's going to move 2 to reposition 4. Okay, that's why it was. I thought it was move 3 to reposition 4. Alright, so he can move 2. And so we've talked about this. Where is he going to go? Yeah, he's going to go right here. 1, 2. Okay, the last Stormtrooper. he is now stuck behind this rock. You can see he's surrounded by red terrain. Red terrain is blocking line of sight. It's blocking his movement. So what is he to do? All right, so finally it's allowing us to decide. Can we move 3 to attack? Well, we can actually, because you can move through allies. And so this stormtrooper is an ally of his. So you can actually go 1, excuse me, sir, 2, and then we'll put him 3 right there. So he has moved 3. He is able to attack, and he has line of sight on both of these characters here. Shyla is actually being blocked. You cannot draw a line of sight through occupied spaces, so of enemies. And in this case, Vinto and Onar are the stormtroopers' enemies. So, but he has moved 3. He's going to attack. Let's have him attack. Let's say we'll have him attack Onar this time. So, no defense dice, and he's going to go ahead and roll away. And he rolled a 3. So now we need to check: is he 3 spaces away? 1, 2, 3. Yes, just barely made it. And he gets 3 hits on Onar. So in this instance, we can do a little math there. There we go. Okay. All right. And then he's going to move 2 to reposition 4. So he's going to go 1, 2, tuck himself as far behind there as possible. All right. We have now finished activating all of the stormtroopers. Yes, I did. Thank you very much. Finally, notice the stormtrooper's portrait on the right side of the screen is tinted red. This indicates that the stormtrooper group has activated, and it won't activate until everyone else has gone. Okay, so at this instance, I now get to choose who I'm going to activate. I get to take their 2 actions, and then I'm going to select their portrait and say that I have basically they're done. They're spent. You'll notice, however, that Onar here has 2 portraits next to his name. When you're playing with 3 players, they essentially give you 4 turns because the ideal player count is 4. If you were playing with just 2 characters, each one of them would get 2 activations. But in the case of 3, they rotate who gets a bonus activation. So in this case, Onar is going to get to go twice. And we can decide when those 2 times are. So let's go ahead and activate Onar. Remember, Onar has a ranged weapon, but he actually cannot see anybody right now. Can he see here? No. Okay. So he needs to move, and then he's going to attack. Let's see. When you enter a space adjacent to a small figure, you may push them. When you rest, you recover additional 2 hits. You can rest only once per activation. When you declare an attack with this weapon, you may apply -1 hit and +2 accuracy to the attack results. Okay, so that's nice. So basically, I need to spend my first movement or first action to move. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Putting myself 3 spaces away from this stormtrooper. I like those odds. So I get to roll a red and a green. He's rolling a black for defense. All right. Okay, I blew this guy out of the sky. All right. Actually, I didn't. Because I failed to reach him, first of all. So you'll notice I'm 3 spaces away, and I only rolled 2 on my die here. But his bodyguard rifle allows me to remove 1 hit for +2 accuracy. Another thing that you'll notice is that Onar currently has no way to spend any surge, which is unfortunate. So his surge symbol is wasted. But I'm going to spend my lose 1 hit to get +2 accuracy. So now I'm hitting him. And this, essentially, this die is used up now. I gave up this hit, and I cannot spend this surge. So there we go. And then one of these hits is canceled out by his 1 roll of defense. So this figure, we're going to put that right next to him, has 1 hit against him. But that was 2 actions for Onar. So I'm going to go to the app here, and I'm going to end Onar's activation. Check. You'll notice that just one of them, one of his portraits turned blue. Now it's also asking me, did I take out any of the stormtroopers? The answer is no. So we're going to continue. Here it's talking about exactly what I just said. So we're going to continue. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, and this point, it's also pointing out that each of the heroes has +3 next to their portrait. That's because in this instance, since I'm only playing with 3 characters, each one gets bonus 3 health. So Shayla Varad's actually a 15, Vento's actually a 14, and Onar's a whopping 23. All right, let's continue. The sound of your calmly beeping shakes you from your state of surprise at having been ambushed. Take out those stormtroopers, Lieutenant Talcon orders. Okay. Will do, sir. Will do. All right. So now, who do we want to go now? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's what we're going to do. And line of sight. Push that figure up to 3 spaces. 2 spaces. Chase to form. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and activate Shyla. She's going to take a movement action. She's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Her full movement speed. She is very much adjacent to this stormtrooper now. And I am going to use this action here. Replace 1 yellow die with in your attack pool with 1 red die. Then perform an attack with this weapon. So I actually get the same exact thing as the bodyguard rifle. He still gets his black die. Let's go for it. All right. So you can see the numbers don't matter because I am melee. And I essentially am hitting him for 3, but he's blocking 1. So I'm hitting him for 2. But I can spend my one surge on an additional hit, which essentially negates that. So at the end of the day, I've put 3 hits on that guy. That's enough to remove him from the map. There we go. Okay, but there's still 2 left. So I can't quite kill off that activation circle yet. But let's go ahead and try. Now, let's see here. End Shyla Varad's activation. Yes. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm trying to see. I am going to say that I'm pretty sure Vento here has line of sight on this stormtrooper from where he is. Now he is 1, 2, 3 spaces away, so that's fine. So I'm not going to move. I'm going to go ahead and take an attack action here against this stormtrooper who already has 1 hit on him. All right, and I got 4 accuracy, so that's enough to reach him. He's 3 spaces away. I only hit him once, and he's blocking that one, but I got 1 surge. Now, while attacking with this weapon, you may re-roll all of your attack dice. So I need to make that decision now before I start spending surges. All right, Bolt Slinger would be perfect, but I can't see the other guy because he's hidden behind the rock. So yeah, I think I'm gonna re-roll. I'm gonna re-roll both of them. All right, so that's a little better. I hit exactly the number accuracy I needed, which is 3. I hit him twice, so 1 is getting through, and then I can spend my second surge to get a second through, and that's 3 against this guy. He is now removed from the map. Okay, now Vento has his second activation, which he doesn't have a whole lot to do. So I am going to just position him right here so that on his next turn he can open up this door, which may not be where we want to go. I feel like that's probably the door we came out of, but that's fine. All right. Okay, so last but not least, Onar here. He gets a turn. Okay, yep, he needs to move. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I could push him. But I really don't need to. I don't think there's anything I could push him into.
I would have to refresh my memory on the pushing rules to see whether or not pushing him into the rock would hurt him. It may. But we're just going to go ahead and attack. So here we go. See if we get lucky here. Boom. We did. So even though we're adjacent, we still needed to, well, we actually didn't. Yes. We did need to roll at least 1-1, which was good. We got that 1-1 we needed. We hit him for 4. We even have a surge, which we cannot spend. He's blocking 1, but he only has a health of 3. So Onar came through. He took out that last stormtrooper. Now we can finally go up here to the app, select the stormtrooper icon. Did we defeat the blue stormtroopers? Yes, we did. Good work taking out those bucketheads. I'm starting to believe the stories I heard about your past exploits. You just earned some fame. Fame is tracked by the app. It's glorious because you don't have to keep up with any of it. And yeah, it's just one of the bonuses of playing in the app. All right, so now the objective is updated. When we first started this game, we really didn't have an objective. And then the guy called on the radio. He said, get rid of the bucketheads. We did that. Now the objective is to open the door. All right, so Onar, unfortunately, has ended his activation. It's going to go through this. The app is going to take us through this little mini phase where sometimes bad things happen to us, sometimes good things happen to us. You never know. It's basically like flipping over an event card in many other games. In this instance, it says that the heat of the jungle is oppressive. It's zapping our strength, and we each have to suffer 1 strain. All right. So we continue round 2, and you can see that all of our heroes now have refreshed portraits, and now Shyla is the one who has an extra activation. All right, and so at this point, I'm going to decide to activate Vinto first, and Vinto, who's already standing adjacent to this door, is going to touch on the door in the app, and it's going to give us this little flavor text. A gate leads into the rebel base, which is surrounded by a fence overgrown with vegetation. A rebel can interact with this door to open it. This is the point where it's saying, do you want to spend your action to interact with the door? Yes, I do. I'm going to interact with the door. Then all of a sudden, it is giving you additional tiles to lay down. Sometimes it's going to give you more than that. And generally when you play a scenario, the tutorial is a little different. When you play a scenario, normally it gives you all the tiles in the beginning that you're going to need for the entire scenario. So you can go find them, set them off to the side, and easily pull them out. The tutorial is a little different, and then it doesn't give you all that heads up and you have to go finding everything now. So I'm actually going to stop the video here. You guys have seen enough, in my opinion, to start playing Star Wars Imperial Assault. Now, after you play through a single scenario, you're going to, like you noted, that you will have gained fame, you will have gained some credits, you will also have gained some experience points, whether you are successful or not. You can then spend those experience points for upgrading your characters. For example, this is one of Vinto's upgrade cards. This one costs 4 XP, so this is probably one of his better ones. But you can just see, exhaust this card while attacking a figure who has suffered damage. Apply +3 to the attack results. You know, so this would sit in front of you, and while you're playing, you could say, all right, during my activation, I'm going to exhaust it, which means just like flip it over like that. And then you're basically mercilessly taking that guy out. Obviously, this is one of his more advanced ones. Let's take a look at one of his 1 XP ones. Pinpoint shot. Exhaust this card while attacking with a ranged gun to remove all hits, blocks, surges, results. Then apply +1 to the attack results, and the attack gains weaken. No abilities can modify the results further. So essentially this says you ignore the dice results, you're going to hit him for 1 and you're going to weaken him, which is a status effect. You know, I'm not going to get into status effects and things like that. Oh, look at that. I even missed that. He's got 2. He's got 2 starting cards I could have chosen. It's offhand blaster. All right. He is a gunslinger, a reckless vigilante, actually. Okay.
But that's where a lot of the fun comes in, is upgrading your characters. You're going to get a chance to go to a little market in the app. It's going to tell you which cards are available. Obviously, you can pull those physical cards out from your set and add them to your characters, because they're going to change the dice you can roll. You're eventually going to upgrade out of your starting weapons. These weapons are not that great. You're going to find weapons throughout the game that are going to give you so much better surge opportunities, so much better die to roll. Some of them maybe even 3 dice to roll. You're not going to be playing the whole game with these. You're also going to find stuff like armor, which is going to improve your defensive rolls. Little knickknacks and stuff, grenades you can throw, all sorts of fun stuff. So that's basically it. Again, there is some stuff I did not cover, like status effects. For example, if you get that's not stunned. Pretty sure this is stunned. It's been a hot minute since I played Star Wars Imperial Assault. If you get stunned, you would place that token next to the character. If it's your player character, you're going to find the card that says stunned. It's going to tell you how to remove that. The app will tell you how to remove from the players. Just all sorts of stuff like that. Remember that it'll tell you to add terminals, crates, things like that. But yeah, just a ton of fun. This is one of my all-time favorite games. Obviously, the Star Wars theme is a big reason for that. This is the first game I ever started painting the miniatures for. It's the game that I have the most completeness of a collection of. I have all but one of these small box expansions for it, and I don't have all the blister packs, but a decent amount. And so yeah, I just love this game, even though it is, they have changed up and improved things about this system. Fantasy Flight has in their most recent Descent, Legends in the Dark release, and Journeys in Middle Earth, Lord of the Rings, Journeys in Middle Earth. They updated the system for that. All of those are essentially their dungeon crawler system. This is still a lot of dice chucking. There's a lot of randomness in the dice rolls, but I just love the theme. I love the characters, love the miniatures. Can't say enough great things about this game. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. If you are considering purchasing Imperial Assault, or if you got Imperial Assault for Christmas and are having trouble understanding how to play the game, hopefully this helps you get it to the table quicker. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, please consider subscribing to my channel. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.